Five Nights at Freddy's is a game series which, at first glance, appears to be a simple horror game with interesting game mechanics. It rose in popularity through its atmosphere and unique setting. However, as soon as the secrets of the game started to spill through community actions, everything exploded. For every fact there was, a string of theories followed. Originally, I started researching the series recently due to a video I made on my side channel called Top 10 Five Nights at Freddy's Theories, which depicts a highlight list of what the community has come out with so far. And, like I said before, each theory is based off facts given through the game, so I then strung together the top 10 Five Nights at Freddy's facts you may not know. But combing through things over with a fine-toothed comb, I started noticing some links where there hadn't been before. It started when researching one of the items on the facts list about hallucinations. This detailed the various hallucinations that appear throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's games. Going through, there are a number of small hallucinations, such as posters changing, art morphing, and cameras acting odd. This is what first detailed one of the major incidents in the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, the missing children incident, which was told through posters in the East Hall corner in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. The hallucinations aren't all simple and tame. Things scale up in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, where we are introduced to one of the most odd hallucinations, Shadow Bonnie. This spectre appears in the office where you are sat and stares at you, before fading away and causing your game to crash. Another ghostly animatronic is Purple Freddy, which sits in the parts and service room where the older animatronics usually rest. The most notable recolor of Freddy hallucination, however, is Golden Freddy, which appears in both games. Golden Freddy is most known for its rather haunting behavior and being the only hallucination to be able to kill you. There is something else I'd like to talk about in detail before getting into the meat of this theory: the death minigames. These are Atari-styled minigames that vary, triggered after failure of the main game. There are 4 altogether. All of these are important for what will come later. Give gifts, give life. Has you playing as the puppet giving gifts to what appear to be dead children. After they are given, you then approach them, resulting in the 4 original animatronics. Throughout this game, there is a robotic voice that spells out, "Help them." Completing this minigame triggers the Golden Freddy jump scare, but not before having one frame of a 5th child in the middle. Take cake to the children, has you playing as Freddy, rushing around to give cake to 6 children. While this is happening, another child is crying outside. The child is approached by a purple man and appears to be killed. All the while, "Save him" is spelled out in a robotic voice, and once over, this minigame ends with the puppet jump scare. The Foxy minigame has you playing as Foxy. The player walks out of what appears to be the Curtain Pirate Cove and into a room with children, who celebrate his arrival. All 5 children appear to be happy, with the bottom one offset so it looks sad due to the black bar. The player is then returned to the curtain area and has to repeat this twice. On the 3rd playthrough, the purple man who killed the crying children in Take Cake to the Children minigame is seen standing in the corner of the starting room, smiling. When Foxy approaches the children, they seem lifeless. The minigame ends with a Foxy jump scare. And lastly, Save Them is where you control Freddy Fazbear and follow the puppet around a gruesomely decorated pizzeria. All the while, Save Them is spelled out in a robotic voice. Sometimes you can encounter the purple man who chases you. Once caught, you are met with a blue static screen and the words "You can't" flashes on the screen. This will cause the game to crash. Note that this is the only minigame that doesn't contain a jump scare. Now, the hallucinations on their own show the disintegration of the sanity of the player, their mind worn down from the stress of surviving each night, seeing images and visions of things they shouldn't be seeing. But when you start linking things together, things seem to paint a different picture. For a start, although the two major incidents, the bite of 87 and the missing children incident, are widely known, what people don't seem to note much is that they're both told in two completely different ways. The bite of 87 is told on the first night on Five Nights at Freddy's 1, over the phone by the phone guy.
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
And the missing children incident is told through the posters. At no point is each incident referred to by the other. Why is this? Also, how do you hallucinate about something possibly factual? Simply put, you can't. For something new to be put into your head and be true, it has to be done by someone or something else. This led me to wonder, who is it that's feeding you this information? Bearing all this in mind, you could see this as two stories told through two different mouths. Should you believe both? Is one of them lying? Or possibly withholding information for a reason? Now, Golden Freddy is our next talking point. What is Golden Freddy? Well, the way I see it, Golden Freddy is an anomaly because it's not an animatronic, it's an empty costume. A tainted costume bearing the memories of the acts committed while worn by the culprit of the missing children incident. This is evident through the poster which details that a Freddy suit was used in the missing children incident, and in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a yellow Freddy suit was missing and used for something horrible.
Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
But what about the other hallucinations? What about the death minigames? On their own, they're seemingly random, each telling a compelling part of a gruesome story, but no one factors who is telling the story and how. Let's first look at the overall style. They're themed like an old Atari-style game, specifically Atari consoles in the era of the 1980s to 1990s. Now, these death minigames come after you've been attacked, which is why they're dubbed death minigames, and usually end with another attack. The attack is done by an animatronic in reality, not in the Atari-style game. This leads me to think that these minigames happen not in death, but if the first attack fails to kill you. So, really, a near-death minigame. This would explain how they can attack twice. Also, we're all accustomed to the sentiment, "my life flashed before my eyes" when nearing death. I think you know where I'm going with this. Going back to one of my earlier points, how can you imagine something that happened that you don't know? Again, you can't. But what if you're not imagining this? How about this? How about you're not seeing one of your own memories in the haze of your mangled state after being attacked? What if the animatronics are feeding you information through unconventional means? It would explain the style. You're seeing a memory of one of the animatronics. The animatronic which will kill you. When you play the Foxy minigame, you are seeing what Foxy regrets most. Not being able to stop the culprit murdering the 5 kids between one of his shows. This is what Foxy is thinking about before he kills you. When you play Give Gifts, Give Life, you see the puppet trying to make amends. Help them, the puppet thinks, while trying to give free will to the animatronics, who could have helped if only they had some sentience, some free will. If only this had been done sooner, Golden Freddy thinks, before he attacks, with the stains of the misdeed in his eyes, knowing full well they could have helped. When you play Take Cake to the Children, you are seeing Freddy's regret for not being able to help the 7th kid from the party. If only he had free will to go and do something, instead of being locked into simply giving out cake. Maybe the kid wouldn't have been killed. Save him is going through the puppet's mind when thinking back to this moment. The guilt is heavy on the puppet's mind when he finishes you off, knowing he could have gave life sooner. Save them is a unique memory which shows the aftermath. The puppet showing the newly sentient Freddy around while telling Freddy he can save them now. While walking, the puppet, leading Freddy past the many dead bodies, is showing Freddy a grim reminder of what could happen if he doesn't. The Purple Man sometimes appearing in this memory as doubt. The doubt that tells Freddy, you can't.